Hello and welcome. This is Kristen from the Online Selling Show, and it is Monday, I believe the 25th of March, which means it is another week in the vlog of what I'm going to accomplish this week, what I'm hoping to get off the list, goal setting, back in midweek to say how things are going, and then at the end of the week I'll wrap up with the sales numbers. I want to get this to a six-figure income for myself for January 27th during retirement to earn that six-figure income. So let's get into what the weekly goals are. I've scheduled several more shows again this week. I need to do some serious bill paying this week. And I think there's going to be a pretty good estate sale. So that's kind of where I'm at for the week. I'm just looking to get more stuff out of here. I mentioned last week I had a really good show with the Christmas sale. I have to go down tonight and really rewatch the show and sort out everybody's purchases. I sold 88 items, but things were getting so convoluted because the piles were just starting to build up. So the goals this week, have myself some more whatnot shows. Right now I believe I have 5 scheduled. I have my normal 4, which is tonight will be the kids show of the used kids clothing. Tomorrow night is another Christmas show. I believe Wednesday night is another craft show. I've been spent all day yesterday going through my craft room. That was good. Then I think Thursday, maybe the toy show. Friday, I'm going to do a home show and some Halloween. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on the weekend yet. I may do another Christmas show or something in there. We'll see how that goes. I want to spend time this week and just get my paper listed. If that can get in there for my other goal this week is just having the whatnot show to blow stuff out and the paper. And the third is I have to get those things up for my wholesale business, those other spring orders. Other than that, there's just some miscellaneous things. I get the stuff over to the CPA to file our personal taxes. The business ones are done. I need to get some things out to a couple other state agencies of things that have to get filed. And I think it's just going to be hopefully a week of just catching up. I know my husband put on this week that he wants to have a previous real estate agent that we've worked with in the past just reached out and said, hey, if you're interested to see what your home's worth, I can come tell you. And we thought, well, we'll take advantage of it. I mentioned to go down in a few weeks and look for some land over the weekend of Easter. I did look ahead in that area. Nobody's posted anything for that weekend. I hope it's not a bust. Otherwise, I'll just be looking for yard sales and thrift stores. So that's what I have going on so far for this week. And I'll be back for a midweek wrap up. It's Thursday, March 27th. This is probably about like take 500 of this video. Because there was not, I started to realize as I went through, I was like, wow, there was a lot going on. I set up my weekly goals and really did not pay attention to the calendar at all. That has been kind of dictating a lot of what's been going on this week because we are at the end of March. That means I have to get all this minutia of stuff for taxes over the CPA to get filed. I also have some state filing things that had to get done with other states that had to get over to him. I'm trying to get these listings done for my spring stuff. I have my laptop with me. I'm going into Starbucks and I get this video finally done. And as anything, when you need to get the stuff done, you don't have everything at your fingertips. And I've having to do back and forth with emails, had some phone conferences, and it's just been a lot more of the business behind the business that I didn't get into. And I really haven't touched on a whole lot. And I think people think like when you have your own business that it's just easier to get stuff done. No, it's no easier. Just trust me. And the other thing is I think you think like, well, you could just do what you need or want to when you want to. And that's true to a sense. An example would be like, I have a doctor's appointment in the middle of the day on Monday. And I have had a to-do list with stuff on it. I think many of us do that's been stuff on there to the where like, I'm sick of looking at it stuff. And one of the things I had to do was like blood work. So like, yes, today I could reschedule around when I could go to get the blood work, that I don't have to like ask my boss for time off and all. I mean, that's great, but it's still a lot of time that I have to get pulled away. and get through that stuff. And some of it, like the listings, were on the weekly list, but I did want to have the shows going on. So getting through the shows has been a little problematic this week, because now dealing with that stuff during the day, I haven't had as much time to spend in that day doing the things to get ready for the shows. And I'm going to get into that now. One of the things I can tell you is my plan for Whatnot is not just of clearancing stuff out. That's what I'm doing right now. But I'm using this time of clearancing stuff out to get buyers in queue, so to speak, or on my client list. I want to make sure I'm cultivating the right buyers even. I'm not looking to just get the bargain basement people, meaning people that are just out there. They don't care what they're buying. They don't care what brands they're getting. They just know they want something because it's $1. That's part of what's happening, but I'm trying to cultivate that. My long-term experience with them is that when I have these certain niche brands or products, that I have those buyers that are hungry for it. And the only way I could say that I'm going to be able to do that is to keep there being a certain expectation going on. And it's, a lot of people talk about like branding, and that's kind of what's happening. And I think some people think that when you're dealing with secondary goods or you're on the internet, like there's no way to really do that. And I'm going to argue that I feel it does happen. And for me in the wholesale business, it's been able to be done somewhat better because my goods that I sell are boutique brand goods, meaning you're not just finding them in any old store, you're not finding them in a Walmart or a Target. And I've really been discerning in that regard, that if it's stuff that does go into those kind of stores, I don't necessarily really want it. And through the way we package and everything else, I've been able to give that expectation that you are getting a better product. And I'm still wanting to carry that over in the Whatnot and eBay for this new eBay store. And I have to do certain things. And one of the things I can tell you is with the Whatnot, I definitely want to be able to use it as a place for doing some launches as well. Meaning that when I get my new stuff in from brand X or brand Y, that I can bring it in and I have buyers that are going to be wanting to get it. They may not pay the same price as what I'm getting on eBay or Amazon, but there's a reason for why the different pricing models will work for me. And I know for me to do that, I have to do it correct from the beginning. Missteps along the way, some may be excused, but I can't keep doing it. And some of the things that I have done, and an example was I got the wooden hangers off of Facebook Marketplace to hang the kids' clothes on for the presentation. I do bring in the trees and things to be able to put the ornaments and stuff on. Not only is it a nice visual when you want to shop for Christmas, but I've been able to sell some of the trees. So there's ways that you can bring in this other ambiance and get the buyer's expectations going at a higher pace, if that's the word. I don't think that's the word, but I think you get the idea. And that does take time. And I've been spending so much time dealing with this business behind the business that by the time I get to a point where I could stage for a show, it's been 5 or 6 o'clock at night. And honestly, at that point, I need a break. I need to get something to eat. I just need to kind of decompress. And I don't feel that it would have been right to kind of rush things together to put some of these shows up. And the other thing that came out of this as a lesson this week was I am at that point I need help with these shows. These shows, some of them are getting really busy, and just trying to keep things so that we're not wasting time, to be more efficient and keep things where I'm not having to go back and rewatch video and stuff. I need somebody there. And I know I've trained people. I've waited too long, because when I now had to sit down and kind of figure it out and choreograph it with my husband as to how these shows were going to happen with him there, it really took me some time to step back and be like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, and then you're going to do this. And when you have to break down the training, it's like, I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for how much we're really doing in all of these steps of running e-commerce businesses. But I know from training other people, like I know I can't just throw it at him. I have to give him a chance to have a way to process and learn it. It has to be at his pace. I can't just throw him in the deep end, so to speak. So I did bring him in. We kind of went through like some steps of what the show was going to look like. Whatnot will let you have private auctions. I put one of those up so it was just the two of us, and we went through. And then of course, when the show comes on, nothing went the way it was supposed to go. He couldn't have things turn on the way they were turning on, and it was just nuts. So he was there to help me pretty much keep things sorted out, but it was, unfortunately, the whole computer part of it just did not happen. So we're going to have to do more of those as well. So what does the rest of this week look like? That's kind of where we've gotten to at this point, whereas I didn't get everything accomplished that I want to get accomplished. The other thing that has happened is I must just be a Jenga master, or I must be a Tetris master, whatever you want to call it, because my death pile looked like it was like this, and now that I'm pulling it apart, it's like, it's like crazy. Like, where did all this stuff come from? And this death pile is not just like what I got from the estate sales and stuff like that. There's stuff in there from old store stock that's been brought in there. There's stuff that I mentioned that was like in my craft area when I moved out of the basement to the studio out in the warehouse. And there's an assortment of different stuff. And now that I'm really starting to pick through it, I'm like, oh, wow, there is just so much. And then on top of that, he wanted to get the decorations down for me for Easter, so I could decorate for Easter. And I've mentioned in the past, I had reconstructive leg surgery, and that meant like I have not been in my attic in years because of having to go up and down and everything. And between him and my son, they've been helping me with that, taking stuff up and down. But some of these tubs he's finding up there like are empty, just full of tissue paper. And I'm like, well, that must have been when you helped me with the Christmas decorations, because I did redo like my whole organization of that, and I must not have realized that they didn't have all the tubs out of the attic. So we were just finding all kinds of craziness when he was bringing stuff down, and we're still not even through all of that. But that stuff, there was stuff up there I had thought went to Goodwill, and it was up there, and I'm like, really? So that got added into this death pile. So that death pile has like exploded. And I'm like, my Lord, I don't feel like I'm getting through this death pile right now. So I think I need a good day or two coming up very soon to just go through and do a heavy listing on that platform. So I bring that up for that. We also have the real estate agent coming in tomorrow that take a look at our house, give us an idea like what he thinks he would list it for if he were to list it. He's not listing it. We're not moving for 2 to 3 years. But give us an idea like where we are in the market. Realize that'll change. But he's also going to be there to give us ideas as to, what improvements we could possibly make or things to fix type of stuff. And that's the other reason we want, because we want to be able to do this as the next 2 to 3 years evolve, not have to feel rushed into doing that. So on top of that, that's going on tomorrow. So I know clean the house and all that's going to be happening tonight. So I have basically pretty much cut off all the shows. I had a show tonight. I don't feel I have the time for staging it properly. I don't have my husband that's going to be ready to do this with me, because we're going to be cleaning tonight, finishing the decorations. So I just said the craft show tonight is not happening. Tomorrow night I have a home and Halloween show planned. I have 9 people that bookmarked it. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that show. I feel like I need to just decompress after this week, do some more stuff behind the scenes. I think, if anything, I'm probably now motivated to just get a heavy day or two of eBay listings done. So I think I'm cutting all of the shows off. If anything, my focus is going to be on listing for eBay, and that's where I predict the rest of this week's going. And we can just pick up the mantle of doing more lists or more whatnot shows next week. That's just my take on all of this. Sometimes you just got to shift gears. You just got to learn how to shift gears and not feel guilty about it. So that's where we're at. I'll be back. We have a really good estate sale on Saturday that I know I'm going to be there at god awful early, because they have old Swarovski crystal ornaments, like from the 90s. I mean, these things sell for hundreds and hundreds, like $600-800 last time I had seen them. So I plan to be there like super, like first person early on Saturday morning. So you may have a shopping video coming out this week. And I did get the rest of my videos scheduled and edited and up. So I'm getting some stuff done. They're just not all the things I thought I was getting done. Oh well, I'll be back. I'm here for the week wrap up. We did not do any more Whatnot shows. I did the one Christmas show. That was kind of it. Just kind of lost my mojo. I think I'm just very fatigued right now. Don't know if it's the changing of the seasons. I don't know. Seeing the doctor tomorrow. Hope maybe he's got some answers. I kind of feel like my thyroid's still off, maybe. We'll see. Since then, I did go to an estate sale on Friday. Picked up 2 things from a nativity. I just was not really feeling it because this is the company where I told you kind of have to negotiate with the owner. The staff, I feel like, gets a commission based on what you're buying out of their zone because they always have to write you up when you take anything out of their area. And I don't know. I just find them very off-putting. They're very hovering. They're just very condescending in the way they talk to you. So I wasn't really feeling it leaving Friday, and they were the same company that was having a sale as a one-day sale on Saturday. They had Swarovski crystal ornaments that I wanted for myself personally. They were older ones from the 1990s, and truthfully, when I had looked at these ornaments to buy for myself in the past on eBay, they were charging like $600 to $700 for them. Well, now they're down to around $200 to $250, and I found that the people pricing on Friday were pricing at full eBay retail. The nativity that I originally went there to look for sells for about $300, $250 to $300. I got there, they had theirs priced at $300, and it didn't even have the Jesus. I don't know how you're selling a nativity for $300 and it has no Jesus. Go figure. So I just knew they were all over the place with their pricing. They were not cheap. The sale on Saturday was going to be an hour one way to get to. And I thought, I'm not driving one way to get there and buy something for full eBay pricing and then driving home. I could just go on eBay when I want to buy it and buy it. I wasn't getting any discount out of it is basically what I was getting at. And I thought I had better things to do than just go there and do that. And it wasn't like I could go back the next day. It was a one-day sale, so there was no trying to negotiate with them better. And it was just off-putting, truthfully. So I decided to stay home. I have to reorganize and inventory all of that paper that is from my crafting, my paper where I make the greeting cards, because I want to get rid of all of that. I'd like to sell that. I have a lot of it, and I could really just use the money to come into the coffers right now. So I'm trying to do today more inventorying to see and assess exactly everything I have. I have been selling some on eBay, and I'll get to that when you see my numbers in a minute. I do need to relist some of this now because I didn't keep up on the quantities correctly, and they need to be relisted. Or some of it I'm going to put up again in the the Facebook groups and try and get some sold that way. It does ebb and flow over there. It seems like there's times where everybody's clamoring for it, and then there's times where you can't give it away. So we'll see. I don't know where we are in that right now. If we're ebbs or flow, I have no idea, but we'll see. And try and get some more of that paper sold, get it up and get it listed, so at least I have it there. Because the other thing is, by not having anything listed, I don't have any idea like what I have in value for inventory on hand. And I kind of need that as well. So we'll get through that today, and then we'll get to the numbers in a minute. So here is the sales data for the week of March 24th and ends on March 30th. For the total week, we had $375 in sales with net sales of $143. The average gross per sale was $31.24, with the average net per sale of $11.88. This is the point that I would like to get up to $20. The net profit margin was $38, with the average net profit margin being 42%. My 3 places of goods that were being sold came from, number 1 being estate sales, 2 is yard sales, my personal, and the old store stock had a return in here, so no surprises there. The listing sources and all, that is not really making too much sense right now because I'm not really listing anything. pretty much eBay is where everything was occurring. I spent $41.10 on new inventory. I really didn't spend that. That was me having to log in my sales of whatnot, and this was the cost of goods as I was running the sales. So it was basically being transferred over from one bucket of sorts to another. The cost of goods sold was $67.49. The marketplace fees was $50.39, and I paid $76.07 for shipping labels. As the graph shows, most of my sales are happening here in the weekend. There was one other sale here during the week. I had a total of 11 sales, and there was 36 new items listed. Again, that is not totally true. The listings coming into whatnot do appear to show as a new listing, but I do believe I did hit the 21 items that I was giving myself as a goal for the week. These are all numbers that are thrown off because of the way the whatnot sales are going. But let's get into what actually sold. Out of the 11 sales that sold, the lowest priced item was this Hallmark ornament. I'll use this as my example to go through and teach you how you can find in Flipwise all your data. Flipwise, if you're not familiar, is a platform that was created by an eBay user for eBay users to be able to keep track of their sales. You can put in manual sales from other marketplaces, and I have used it for my Facebook sales as well as my whatnot shows. So going through this, here's a picture of what the item looks like. And going down the left-hand side, it says the purchase date was October 17th. I do believe that to be true. It took me 6 days to list it and 5 months to sell. And if you keep going down, it says I bought it at an estate sale and I paid 80 cents for it. So going over here to the right, I did get $8.99 for the goods. I didn't realize I had it in for free shipping. I do still have a few of these items that I made mistakes and did that on. So that is $8.99 total. The fixed value fee here is 30 cents. That is a bank transfer fee, basically, where eBay is charging it to take the money from the buyer and put it into your account. The final value fee is the one that's considered to be the commission. On average, you can count that to be about 15%. There's a lot of different factors that go into that concerning whether you have a store, the category you list in. So I would highly recommend checking out an eBay calculator if you really want to nail down the exact final value fee for your item. The cost to ship this, the actual cost, is $4.62. It left me with a $2.02 net return. This item was one I was trying to sell and just blow out of here. So basically what is going on is that my 80 cents came back to me, plus I got an additional $2.02. Left me with an ROI of 253% or a net profit margin of 22%. Down here, all these listing changes are the different times that I have put this thing on sale. So you can see where I am. I didn't even go all the way to the bottom. Just very happy to get rid of that and still make a little bit of money. The next higher, this would be my number 10th spot, was this bird. This is the last of what I bought at a yard sale back in October. It was somebody who was having to liquidate both her mother and her sister's estate, and I bought a huge lot of stuff. This was the last of these clip-on bird ornaments. I did allocate 88 cents to it. After everything was said and done, I got a net return of $4.19. I made so much money on these birds. This was, like I said, the last of it. What is showing up in this one, it's a little bit different than the other one is. This was $5.29 for the specific item. $6.20 was charged for the shipping. When eBay calculates their final value fee, this $1.50 is based on the total amount of what they brought in, which was $11.49. So it's not just based on the $5.29. I hope that makes sense. So, like I said, my 88 cents came back, plus I got a net return of $4.19. Again, happy to get rid of it and make some money. The number 9 spot are, this was something personal sitting around my house. It was listed for 9 months, and I was just happy to finally get rid of that. That's going to show a much higher net return because I allocated 0 cost of goods in there for that. The next highest item to sell with some old store stock. So again, that went in with a 0 value. Here is an item that was my personal. This was a Lennox ice bucket. I thought I would get some decent money for it, and I really only got $5.29 with $12 of shipping. And the actual cost to ship this item was $7.60. I bring this up because in here you will see that there is this 37-cent ad fee. I do allocate 2% to use as a sponsored ad to get my items pushed up higher in the sales results when somebody is keying in to search for something. The next selling item was an item I picked up this at, where did I buy this? At a yard sale for $1. I knew this was Mexican pottery. I was able to sell this on one of my weekend sales where I offer the stacked discounting of coupons plus the store being on sale, and they got it for $7.35. My dollar was able to come back and still bring me $8.40. I didn't realize I had put that much in there for shipping, and I did not do a refund because, like I said, this was a sale. I believe the buyer knew going in that that was going to be their total. So I just left it at that. They left a glowing review. This paper here is one I bought at an estate sale, and I paid $1.18 for it. This is a specialty niche item that I am in, and I'm very familiar with this. I had this listed on eBay for $11.99 with $9 shipping. We were able to keep it under the £1 mark and take the $1.18 and bring back $11.27. So this is my lesson to you. If you're in a niche or know it very well, by all means, go deep in it. This is another item that is my paper, but this was something out of my personal stash. I won't go through that much more. The number 3rd high selling item was this item here. It is a brass double arm French themed sconce for the wall. I bought these at a large community yard sale. So I'm gonna set up like a flea market. I bought 3 of these and some glows. This particular item I allocated $10 for it, and I was able to sell it for $23.19 on the weekend sale with $13 for shipping. After everything was said and done, my $10 was able to come back plus $19.71. So I was basically able to take my $10 and bring back $20. I was very happy with that, and I still have 2 more that I can sell. The number 2 highest selling item is this. I literally had this listed for probably about 20 minutes when it sold. I have not been able to allocate pricing for this. I am still breaking down what this estate sale was. I did this estate sale. It was the last one of the season back in November. I believe I spent maybe $4 on her. She was an artist by the name of Robert Davis. This was just a Mrs. Claus figure. She's about 4 inches tall, and it looks like she's feeding a baby reindeer on here. So the net return is $26.74. You'd have to take like $4 out of that. So my $4 was able to bring back almost $23. And I may have shortchanged myself because I didn't really know exactly who she was. I did some research, but I'm not really that disappointed that I could sell her that quickly from listing her and take $4 and bring back $22. And then the highest selling item is this Lennox canister set. This was an item that was my hot ticket item from an estate sale. I specifically went there to target that. I got them and purchased them for $60. The sell-through rate looked really good. There had been 4 of them listed, and they had a 100% sell-through rate in the past year. It did take 8 months for me to sell this. I really figured during the holidays I was going to be able to sell it. I had it listed for $199, and I wasn't getting any takers. I had one person put an offer in, I accepted it, and then they never paid, and that was probably back in September or October. So I was very, very happy to finally be able to get this sold. They bought it on one of my weekend sales where they stacked the discounts and paid $88.20. I did not realize the shipping was up to $45.30. We actually were able to ship this for $12.84. I did not do any refunds. I left it at that, figuring that the buyers was putting that in there as part of their offer or part of their purchase of what they were doing. So the $60 came back, plus we got $43.31. So that is my number one selling item of the week. Sometimes you think you're going to get real big payouts, and sometimes, you know, I mean, I still think it is a decent amount of money, but it did take 8 months to sit on this product. So I'm going to wrap this up for here for the week. I appreciate you watching. I would appreciate a thumbs up if you got any good information out of this. I try to give as much transparency as I can, because I realize, having gone through this, through all of the 22 years, that sometimes the smallest little amount of information that a seller can provide can really make a huge difference in what will click for you and help you get your own process of, you know, this eBay journey on the way. I would appreciate any comments down below. What did you enjoy watching? Is there something you would appreciate more information on? And I would really appreciate if you could hit the subscribe button. I want to tell you, I appreciate all of the viewers that I have. Every one of you that have decided to join, I celebrate when I see that you have joined the channel. And check back for next week's episode. It'll be here in a few days. And I will say bye for now.